So I think the point I was making about the view on Gandhi's position regarding beef is that you don't have to eat it. First of all, if you don't believe it, that's a good thing. Don't do it. You want to worship a cow, by all means do that. Um, the issue for you as an Indian, as a Bharatiya, is that Bharat is a concept much bigger than a belief in a cow. There are people, including people like me, who come from Hindu families, and I eat beef. I'm perfectly fine with that. I am actually, as I said, I've discarded all religion. Now I am as Indian, and I claim that I'm even more Indian than the many other fanatics, Hindu fanatics that are going around today. I'm in the side of Gandhi, who believes that Hinduism allows people a wide range of opinions and beliefs. And many Hindus are atheists. That's the interesting part of Hinduism. And as you know, Jainism and Buddhism are fundamentally atheistic religions. They're not religious. But the the diversity of the schools of thought, the Charvak school of thought, the many other schools of thoughts in India, Chanakya's own work, everything goes clearly. Chanakya's Arthashastra has a very clear rules about the sale of beef in the market. Beef was sold in the Gupta time in the market.
Because if you look at this Buddhism, the countries like Cambodia, Vietnam, or China, even Japan, they are beef-eating countries.
Yes.
And it's majority of them.
Yes, Buddha did not oppose eating anything. Buddha was simply a man of says do things in moderation. And so the idea, there are some people in India who worship a cow, and they are most welcome to worship the cow in private. Take their own cow, worship it, and once that's done, they can bury it, which is what they do. I've gone to many of these goshalas in Haryana where they look after the old cows, and after the cow is dead of old age, then they actually dig a hole and they bury the cow. And I have nothing to stop them from burying their own cow or selling it in the market. I have something against people putting their cows in the public space after it's old because they don't look after it, and then they can't sell it, and then it goes and starts eating plastic. And this Chikitsalaya where I went in Haryana, the Goshala, and they also had a Chikitsalaya, goat Chikitsalaya. They used to bring cows which are fed plastic, and they found up to 80 kilos of plastic in their stomach. These were choking with plastic. So what I think is if you care for a cow, and I agree with you, you should care for the cow. I'm a strong believer in animal rights. We need to have systems by which we have a life cycle approach to these things. That how you deal with this in a humane manner. Now, if you are able and willing to look after the cow, your own cow, and take care of it till it's dead, by all means do that and bury it. You can bury the cow. Nobody stops you. But when you start saying that others cannot take part of their life cycle for a cattle, like a farmer. A farmer is actually not here to look after cows. Farmer must first make a basic living, and the farmer's job is to produce milk, produce agriculture products through the bull, and after the economic purpose is served, then that animal goes through other next steps, in which there is a complete global community. There's a export market for this. If people don't want to use in India, that's fine. What I feel is that the imposition is the problem. Imposition is also, by the way, they make use of an article in the Constitution in the directive principles, and I forget the number right now, the article number. But the directive principles are not fundamental rights, and the party's position on directive principles is also very clear. We will get rid of the directive principles. There is no place for directive principles inside the constitution of a country. We are the only unique country where we have got fundamental rights.
Give the states the liberty to do what they want.
So first we keep the fundamental rights, which we then dilute because of various socialist ideas, and we have schedules 9 and so on. And then we also have, completely contrary to the fundamental rights, we have a set of ambitious objectives or directive principles. These principles clearly were not compatible or consistent with the fundamental rights. Otherwise, they would have been automatically implemented. So almost all of them are inconsistent with fundamental rights, and almost all of them are either socialist, which require you to have the government spend vast amounts of money on a goal which is not subject to cost benefit analysis. Either you're doing that, or you're dabbling in religious matters. And that is the whole point of a liberal constitution. Ambedkar's constitution did not have the state dabble in religious matters. And so I think this party is very clear. We are not a confused party like Congress. We are not here to appease anybody, or we're not here for anybody's votes just because of a religion thing. We have to speak our mind and say, guys, this is the way our constitution was designed as a liberal constitution, where and the directive principles are fundamentally inconsistent with the liberal principles, and we don't agree with them. But even if they exist, they do not have the power to have the government impose these laws or beliefs of somebody on others. So yes, the Kashmir, back to the Kashmir, I think the religious contamination of governance has caused us grief through the partition of India to, into three countries. Now this continuation of the Kashmir issue, the continuation of the lynching of the Muslims across the country, and I can go on and on. By the way, very briefly speaking, I would say that the data that we have, because I used to teach in the National Academy of Administration, and we had the data collected by NC Saxena, who is one of the directors of the academy, a very good friend of mine, and he had identified and found that the Judicial Inquiry Commission reports on various communal rights, the total numbers, and that's not the way to look at it, but if you add up just the numbers, then yes, more Muslims have been killed in communal riots in India since 1950 or whatever, 47, than the Hindus. And that is because the police is particularly biased. It has got virtually no Muslims in the police force. And then when the time comes, then they revert back to their tribal instinct and blame the entire Muslim community for the actions of somebody. And therefore, we know I will not go into details, but what I'm saying is that we need a government that is focused on the rule of law. I like the idea of, I went to London, and everybody was clear about this. Even there were some fairly fanatic people I met, Hindutva fanatic people, but they were also very clear that the UK government has got one thing that is very fair to everybody. It only deals with people on a case-by-case basis. It does not generalize. I'm sorry, but that is the point, isn't it, of a government? What is the government's job? Are we here to impose our views, religious beliefs on others? I thought we are here as chokidars. We are here to provide justice and security, and the government therefore must make sure that we only deal with individuals, specific cases. Those people then need to be looked at through the lens of justice, which is completely missing in India. And I think that's where, as you can see, I'm blaming not religions. I'm blaming the contamination of public policy by religion. Religion, as a party, we have no view on religion, but we do have a view that you cannot go around mixing a religious belief in the way you implement your law, like the communal rights I mentioned, or in the way you don't punish the people, like the befitting lynching that's going on, or in the way you maybe don't capture the right criminals in Kashmir to punish them for their crimes. So we need to really go many levels higher as a country, where our police forces, our judicial forces, judiciary, and our I'm not commenting against judiciary on this, by the way. This is simply a view that everybody should rise well above religion when they are sitting in a government position. That means they are simply doing objective analysis.
Because we had some judges from the Rajasthan court who claimed and to announce that cow is a god. And
yes, and that of course I think was on the retirement day of that judge or something, and they are welcome to their views. But I hope that never contaminated that judge's decisions in practical life, because that would have been really bad, where a judgment is not looking at both sides of the facts, but you're then starting to mix up with your own personal beliefs. And I think this party is simply following the Indian tradition. And I kept telling these people in London, the Hindu fanatics, that guys, you are a fanatic here. You know, I didn't tell them that basically, but you know,
And yeah.
but basically you are insisting on this, but I'm actually insisting on the best elements of Indian culture and Indian history, and which is tolerance. I said John Locke discovered tolerance only in 1670 or 1680, and that is when the West discovered the idea of tolerance, and they were fighting. The Catholics and the Protestants were killing each other, in mass killings were going on, and then this idea of tolerance came up. That okay, kind of, let's not kill each other, let's tolerate each other. Then who actually discovered tolerance? You go to India's history, it is India. India was the world's most tolerant society. Everybody could come, practice their religion. It had been going on for thousands of years. We have never ever been a society, an intolerant society. That is the first principle of liberalism, which we are forgetting today. And that we are forgetting because we have got so enamored by the idea that the whole communities are involved in some religious attack on us or something. Don't do that. Our party is simply saying, please calm down. All we are saying is we are a society as in India, and I think the world should be the same, tolerant society. Then we're talking of beef, for example. I said Chanakya. Arthashastra is very clear. Beef was properly sold in the market. So Chanakya may not eat beef. He was a Brahmin. He may not eat it. Who cares? But he was giving the king advice on how to sell it, which kind of process, and dry beef has to be sold in this condition, that condition. He wanted to have health and safety of the people. So that is the other part. That there was, you may not practice prostitution. Chanakya may not practice it, but in the Chanakya's Arthashastra, there is a very clear chapter on how to regulate prostitution. Yeah. So we can't go by implement governance by saying you will only do what I want to do. Governance is about saying you please do what you want to do so long as you don't harm others physically, and because some of what you might do might actually harm others, like health and safety issues, animal welfare issues, or prostitution, maybe you can actually harm the innocents. And so in all these cases what you would need is good regulation. The government will be like a chokidar. We are a party, we want to be the chokidar of India. We are not here to tell you what to do. We are simply saying we will just make sure that you are not hurting anybody physically. End of the story. Live, let live. Be a country where everybody can do what they want, can believe what they want, and achieve what they want, so long as they don't harm others. So how simple was this idea? And it's part of India's culture. So when I talk of Sone Ki Chidiya, so not me, it's our party's logo and party slogan as well. We are going back to that idea of being a liberal society, which also was economically open,
progressive and prosperous.
progressive and prosperous. And the idea of Chanakya was that I was telling these people in London, did they know? And I tell you, they don't know that Chanakya was the only economist in the history of the world, till even after that, to say that imports are more important than exports. Now, that is such a revolutionary idea. Adam Smith was fighting mercantilism, where people said exports are more important than imports. And he said both are equally important. But Chanakya says imports are more important. What a great insight, and that is 2,500 years ago. What is he saying there? He's basically saying that you are going to learn from others, your technologies. You will get to produce better things.
Understand your own quality.
Yes, it's a kind of
I can
benchmark.
improvise.
It's a benchmark. It is like saying that if you are going to improve as a runner, then who's most important for you? All your domestic school runners, or some other fast runner from outside who's going to challenge you and improve you?
You can only learn from somebody better than you.
You can only learn from somebody better than you. Import is nothing but something that is better than you. How good is that idea? How brilliant is that idea? And that is the first idea which is against the self-reliance idea of the RSS and the Hindutva.
They are not
Yes.
doing it.
Yes, and so the idea that when these RSS people tell me that they want Swadeshi, I say, but तुम लोग को तो पता ही नहीं भैया. You don't know your own culture. You don't know Chanakya's policies. You don't understand economics. You don't understand that beef was sold in India. You are going crazy because you have not read anything. आप थोड़ा पढ़ लो चल. आपको नॉलेज नहीं है. अगर आपको नॉलेज नहीं है, मेरे पास आ जाओ. We will explain to you. अगर आपको फिर समझ नहीं आता, तो दोबारा एक्सप्लेन कर देंगे. पर आपकी इग्नोरेंस है. इग्नोरेंस से कंट्री नहीं चलती. This is our message to these RSS fanatics that please take it easy. You are wrong. Just like I tell the Muslim that your religion is completely man-made. Now that's my view, but that's not the party's view. Again, distinguish. But in this case, what the fact that the self-sufficiency argument of RSS and I know that very strong argument they have, self-sufficiency. They are actually copying Nehru. They are copying the socialists. They are copying Indira Gandhi. So you are children of Indira Gandhi. Now you say that no, you're not follower of Indira Gandhi, but yeah, I'm sorry, but RSS, you are the perfect child of Indira Gandhi. You are the poster child of Indira Gandhi, who was dead against, who was talking self-reliance all the time and was talking import substitution and everything else, and she stopped the IBM from coming to India. You are talking that language. I'm talking complete FDI, opening of FDI and all that stuff. And what you are talking about is closing FDI. Right. I'm talking Chanakya, who says bring FDI, bring foreign investors, bring and respect. His thing was provide the highest level of respect to the person who brings you things from outside. Highest level of respect. If somebody wants to invest in India, we will give him the highest level of respect. Now, this is such a radical thought, but again, it is only radical because everybody has become a child of Nehru. And all these BJP are children of Nehru. Modi is a child of Nehru. And yes, he, sometimes will also, these people will say things against Nehru, but really they don't know that they are copying Nehru. If they want to be the true Indian, then they need to understand Arthashastra. Then they need to understand the idea of liberalism, of tolerance. In a nutshell, that is what we are. Once you do that, the Kashmir problem will disappear. Because you are not going to treat Kashmir as a Muslim problem. You will treat it as a problem of ignorance. You treat it as a problem of lack of opportunity, lack of good governance. You're not even looking at it in that manner. When you start looking at everything in this country, Naxalite problem, what is it a problem of? What, a Muslim problem? No. But still they're killing. Why? Your governance is completely gone. You have no governance capacity. So naturally there will be violence of every sort. And then Alpha was there, and I was part of the Assam Carter, and we had the Alpha problem, we had the Poro land problem. In all cases, the fundamental cause is neither poverty nor religion. The cause is misgovernance. And the fact that people, when they wanted to have good studies, schools, you did not have teachers attending the schools. So what did they do? They all started doing these stupid things. I mean, the children who join these groups, by the way, they are children. My son is 30. I've seen him grow, right? These children, they're so influential, influenced by here and there. If you give them the right ideas, if you give them the right opportunities, who will go bad? There's no chance. But we don't do that. What we're doing is and our schools, we don't have functional schools. While I'm in the subject of schools, let me mention James Tooley. You met James Tooley in London, right? I don't know whether you know about James Tooley. Mm-hmm. But James Tooley is, in my view, the world's greatest ever, the word is ever, thinker in the field of school education. And what is he saying? He's saying completely privatize all schools. Now that is the kind of thinking, and that's what is in our manifesto. That's a long-term strategy, but we can actually have transitional steps for that. But here's the beauty of it. India actually has some of the most functioning, effective functioning low-cost private schools in the world. Also, most other countries, Ghana, China, Nigeria, they all have it. The poor, our mythology has been that the poor somehow don't care for their children. But actually the poor care so much for their children because they want to get their children to improve in the future. And so they will save and skimp. And they will put money into this. And the fees, he was calculating, Tooley, that it's about 5 to 10% of the person's income, the poor person's income. It is just around, the fees that are being charged in Hyderabad, Hyderabad currently is pretty much in the space of $3 roughly per month, per term. $3, which is 120 rupees for the whole term. Okay, and with that, it's private school, and they're making profit. Oh, yeah. Right.